Hey, just kind of go ahead and get this thing started. This week hit a little differently than others. It's Appalachian State.
Yeah, it is different. There's no question about it. We've got to prepare and continue with our process. I mean, we have to do the things we do that will allow us to be successful. But I think it's very important that we do understand that it's different. I mean, this is the real rivalry game. This is the one that has so much history to it, so much tradition to it. And our guys understand, our staff understand that the opportunity to try to get a win versus Appalachian State is something that we don't take lightly. We have to go to work. We have to understand that regardless of what our records are, regardless of what we're ranked in whatever statistical category there is, that it's different, and you got to be ready to play like that every play.
This is the first time in, I think, since y'all have moved to FBS that's going to be played on a Saturday. Does that change, Todd talked about how they was able to have more, family members and friends be able to come on Saturday rather than a Thursday night. Is there any added difference?
I
Thursday night?
I do think there's a lot of difference to this. I like it. I mean, I like it being the last game of the year on a Saturday. I think that's a pretty cool deal. Because since we moved to the FBS, it's always been mid-season, early season, a Thursday night game. I think that's really, something that I think is kind of cool to be able to do it at the end of the year. I do think it's good for our players. It's good for our students. It's good for our fan base. I think not being a weekday night makes that a little bit easier for everybody. But there's something about a Thursday night, in Statesboro, with the lights on, that's special too. So, but I do think it, again, what the other difference is, it's not a short week. It gives coaches a little bit more time to prepare on both sides, their side and our side. So I think that plays a lot into it. I think at the end of the season, the other thing that we have to look at too is, how is injuries, how is each team being able to sustain what, not being as healthy as they would have been early in the year, and I'm not real sure on App's injury situation or anything like that. I just know kind of what's going on with us. But I'm sure, after playing a few games, I mean, there's some bumps and bruises on both sides of both sides and both teams.
Coach, I know you don't read too much into lines and anything that has to do with Vegas, but this thing's been hovering around 10 points in App State's favor, and that's them coming on the road for a rivalry game at the end of the season with two teams that have pretty decent records. And like I said, I know you don't look into spreads too much, but just the idea that some people don't give you guys a chance at home against them, you'll have to take that a little personally, right?
What's the line?
-9, but it was open at -11.
Wow. Maybe we shouldn't show up Saturday. I don't, I don't really pay attention to that kind of stuff, but hey, shoot, they're a good football team, man. You turn on the film. I don't see many weaknesses. A lot of great talent all the way around. Great schemes on offense and defense, and maybe that's right. Maybe that's right. And obviously, our year has been, down to the wire each game, and really except for two games, and we haven't been able to finish the way we want to finish ball games. I mean, maybe that line does make sense. So maybe we need to rethink about showing up or not.
I'm going to wonder if that line is also influenced by who's going to be a quarterback, the not knowing who it's going to be. So maybe, and I'm not a Vegas person, but maybe they're thinking without Shai Werts locked in at quarterback that they don't know that much about Justin Tomlin. So why don't you, if you can, speak up for why Justin Tomlin should close that gap a little bit?
Well, I think Justin Tomlin, when you look at this, I mean, that was his first game starting, and if he does end up being the starter for this game, the improvement, like we talk about early in the year, from game 1 to game 2, I think that really fits what JT where he's at right now. So if he is able to start, or if he is the starter on Saturday, I do expect him to play even better than he did last week. Some things with JT that after watching the film and, just, trying to study it a little bit, JT's ball security, we got to make sure that's better. I mean, there were times where the ball came loose, bounced good for us. There was a throw that he made that was almost an interception, but the guy bobbled it as he was going out of bounds. So protecting the football has got to be very important, especially in this game. That's always a part of our plan to win. But what I do think that JT did a good job of was gain confidence. He did a really good job of running Coach Roos's offense and what we installed, and did a good job of making sure our guys were all on the same page, played with a lot of poise. And the other thing that I think JT did was he played very, very physical. When he ran the football, I mean, he was running it with a purpose. So I just expect JT to get better from game 1 to game 2.
He also didn't turn the ball over, Chad, and I know that's huge. If you're able to do that and win the turnover battle like you have in a lot of these games, if he's just able to manage the game, it seems like that would be a positive, especially in a big atmosphere like this one will be against App.
Yeah, I think there's a lot to being a manager. There's no question. But I don't want to label JT as just a manager, though, because I do think he has playmaking abilities. When you look at that third and 14 that he converted, there was a lot of good blocks in that allowed him to pick up that first down. But the way he tried to finish that run and really run over that safety, and then all of our guys coming in and really making a rugby scrum and pushing it another 5 or 6 yards, that just showed you the will and the desire, JT. So yes, he does need to manage the game. Yes, he needs to protect the football, but we do need him to make plays also.
And your offense was able to extend some drives and give your defense some time to rest, regardless of whether it turned into points or not. And I would imagine that's a similar thing that you're going to need this week against App.
Yeah, the challenges this week is, going against App State's defense. That's going to be similar to what we were doing last week against Florida Atlantic. Now, I do think App State's defense is better than Florida Atlantic's, but I do think Florida Atlantic had a good defense. I really do. I do think App State's is better. So obviously being able to do that for our defense as an offense is going to be huge. And that will be a big time challenge. The other piece to it is, now our defense's challenge, we felt like Florida Atlantic was a heavy run team, didn't throw the ball too well. And we were able to, do a good job of stopping FAU's run game and then controlling the pass game. Now you're going to go up against a guy that at their quarterback spot that can throw and run. And he, and also, a really good offensive line and really good running backs, good receivers. So this is a huge challenge for us because, we're going to have to bring it on both sides of the ball. And we're really going to have to bring it in special teams because I believe time of possession and I believe field position and the turnover margin will be key in this game.
And Coach, all year you've talked about finishing off drives with 7 instead of 3 in the red zone. And you talked last week about getting back to that mentality of stepping on people's throats and choking them out to finish games. Any week, finishing a game with 7 instead of 3 on drives is going to be important. But this week, when you truly want to choke out App State in a rivalry game, when touchdowns can take the air out of any team's tires, and against a team that you've said looks so good on film, I'm sure this week it's incredibly important, and something you're stressing to the guys is finishing with touchdowns instead of field goals.
Yeah, we've definitely got to think 7 points instead of 3 points. There's no question. That because if you sit there and you just settle for field goals, it's going to be a lot of pressure on our defense to be able to hold the App offense from being able to get up on us. So definitely stressing that. We've been stressing that all year. We got to figure out how to get over that mental block. we get down there and it just seems like that first play in the red zone ends up being a negative play or a miscommunication play or penalty, or I mean that's just been the track record this year. And we've got to get over that mental hurdle. But I do think that our offensive staff is doing a really good job of working through the red zone game plan, trying to figure out the things that would make us successful. I really liked last week we hit that long pass to Logan Wright, and I really like what Coach Roos did. He went with the very next play. He went with basically a slant and go play. So he took a shot right after a shot. And I thought that was really good, because I think that our guys thought, okay, we're in an attack mode type thing there. Unfortunately, I did feel like we got pass interfered with and it didn't get called. But I do think having that attack mentality once you get in the red zone will be key for our guys to be able to finish off those drives.
Coach, can you tell us a little bit about your thoughts on how Scott Sloan has helped with this Appalachian State rivalry as far as the game plans go for App State?
Well, obviously his familiarity with the coaches up there and what they do, that helps on both sides of the ball, because obviously he's had to, one, being the defensive coordinator here, defend App State's offense, but also two, being on the defensive side up there going against App State's offense. And it's not much different than it was when he was up there. And then I think the other piece to it is, his ability to talk to our offensive coaches, and say, hey, this is how we try to defend y'all when he was up there and playing Georgia Southern. I think that's very key. And what I like about our staff, man, and we've always been this way. I mean, both sides of the ball, if there is that type of connection, if there is that type of information, we do a good job of communicating with one another and just don't sit in our rooms and go, hey, well, whatever, it doesn't matter what they know over there. No, we're not like that. We treat this just like it being a team. And, he brings a lot of knowledge to us and he helps us on both sides of the ball, particularly in this game.
What's a moment from one of these past two games, the wins against Appalachian State, that you'll, 10 years from now still remember and think of in one of these two games that sticks out for you?
I don't, I always try to stay on the positive side of things, and I try to, positively think of things. But to be honest with you, the last 2 years versus App State, there was a moment where, like in 2018, where I just really felt like the fan base energized. It felt like Georgia Southern football again. And it was, it was in that fourth quarter and it was just the crowd was going crazy. And we, there was just a lot of, I hate to say it, there was just a lot of celebrating by us before the game was over. Me included, because I kind of got wrapped up in the moment because I was like, man, it just feels right. It feels like Georgia Southern again. And so what I'm going to get at is, I think the biggest thing that sticks out to me, and I don't mean this in a negative way, but it's trying to be perfect and trying to be as good as we can be, is just the ability to finish the game against Appalachian State. I felt like in 18, we gave up that late touchdown that we did not need to give up. And then last year in 19, I mean, we got up 24-7, and then they were able to fight back and get it to 24-21. And our defense did a good job of making sure that we sealed the victory. But we didn't put them away, and I think that's the biggest thing that stands out to me about the last two times we played Appalachian State. How can we finish against them? And again, a lot of respect to Appalachian State, because they're never going to quit and they're going to always continue to fight. And they're going to come down here with the mindset that they want to wear us out. There's no question. But we got to be ready for that. And we got to understand, if we do get in a position to put them away, can we be better than we were in 18 and 19? So to be honest with you, that's the biggest thing I think about after the last 2 years.
What's the top song that goes over the PA that gets you most fired up?
The what?
The song that, whether it's like Mo Bamba or Hard in the Pain, or what song? If I mean you're so focused you don't even hear it.
I don't. The only reason I knew that Mo Bamba played that one year was because of the whole dance off with Coastal. That's the only reason I knew that. I couldn't even tell you what gets played now. I mean, that's for our guys. That's for our fans. I need to stay in the moment. I don't need to get out. So I don't have an answer for you. If they played some George Strait or some Cole Swindell or something, maybe I would enjoy that. I don't know.
For a lot of these guys, two of them we just talked with, and Todd and Drew, and this is, looking like it's probably going to be the last time, they play in Paulson Stadium. And it's, rivalry game Saturday night, last game of the season. What has this senior class, meant for this season as far as, getting over those adversities, getting over those injuries, getting over those off the field, just getting to this 12th game of the season? What has the senior class meant to that season?
Man, this is a tough question here, man, because unless you lived this year as a football coach in 2020, your senior class means everything. There's so much stuff. January started that we had a chip on our shoulder, man. Like, we lost that Cure Bowl, and the guys came in extremely focused. They came in I'm talking about our seniors now. They came in extremely excited to right the wrong of how we ended last season. And, they really worked their butts off. And, we get 6 practices into spring ball, and then it all gets shut down. And, a lot of people don't understand how much damage that does. And again, we're not the only ones. I mean, it's every football program in the country. Not getting that off season, not getting that strength and conditioning, not getting that team bonding that you normally get during the off season. So what I think this senior class really means is just how they led when we got back, how they really worked hard to bring this team back together, how they really worked hard to get these freshmen bought into what we do here. Because, I mean, we didn't get our freshmen until really, July 29th when everything, when OTAs and stuff started. And, they had no idea what being a Georgia Southern man was and what the expectations at Georgia Southern was. So I think that's I think that's what, I will remember this senior class most about, is how they brought this team together. I know they're disappointed because they wanted to win a Sun Belt championship this year. And they felt like we had the team to do that, as so did I. I know they're disappointed about that. But what I will say about this team and these seniors is they never quit. They never give up. They're always going to go try to play the next game as their best game. And I think their leadership's been huge. The other thing I'll say about our senior class, and again, I know this is not senior day, but we will treat it like senior day again. I mean, we're going to make sure we honor them throughout the week. We're going to make sure that, that they understand how special they are to this program. But the other thing is, man, this is the class that, that really helped me get the job here in 2017. And, I will forever be grateful to them of how they bought into me and how they have stayed bought into me and what we try to do with this program.
Have you had any with this year being a kind of a free year as far as eligibility goes? Have you had any conversations with some of these seniors about coming back for another year?
I have. I'm actually doing senior exit meetings. I started them last week, finishing them up this week. I've had conversations, not with not all the seniors yet, but will be by the end of this week. And really the big piece is just asking them where their mind is, how they feel, what they think, if they want to come back or if they're going to be done. But it's not my place to sit here and say what any of them are thinking right now, because that's their thoughts, and I don't need to put that out there. But we are having those conversations now, and you know, we'll continue to work through it as we get through this last game and hopefully a bowl game.
Are there any players due to come back from injury that you know for sure will be back in the lineup? I know there was quite a few injuries adding up.
If I'm a betting man right now, we'll probably look exactly the way we looked last week. There are guys that we're continuing to monitor and see if they can continue to get better to give us an opportunity or give them an opportunity to play. But if I was a betting man right now, we will look exactly the way we did last week.
GATA.
Is that all y'all got?
Thanks, Coach.
All right.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank y'all. GATA.